Hey guys, I'm Chris,
And I'm Mike.
and welcome back to this week's No Limits, the Thriller Podcast. How's it going today, Mike?
Good. I'm back to potting outside now that the spring weather is here. So,
Yeah. It's here at least for 1 week. I think next week we're supposed to get snow up here. So,
and yeah, it's back to the mid 30s down here. So, I've been at work in school these last few days. It's 75, beautiful, bright and sunny out. I'm in the building. Friday, I get a day off. I book golf. It's going to be 35. I'm like, come on, man.
Don't do me like that, weather.
I
Come
can't
on.
catch a break.
I hate these little teases. I mean, they're very nice in the moment, but it's like, winter comes back. Like, I feel like this happens a lot. Like, you get like 1 or 2 days that's like really nice, and then boom, you're back into winter.
Speaking of little teases, today we have two Andrews and Wilson short stories to get into. We kicked things off with First Ranger when that first came out. They're already two more deep for 2026, and the next one is on the way. So let's keep this thing going and see what we think about this new adventure by Andrews and Wilson in their own little imprint with Blackstone and this approach to bang out these short stories. Do you think they're onto something with this?
I'm gonna have to say I really enjoyed both of them, and you said you were gonna come in with a hot take with Sledgehammer, but I really liked it. Obviously, there's some plot holes, and not plot holes, but like, it wasn't like everything wasn't fully fleshed out. But obviously, it's not meant to be. It's a short story. But man, would I love to learn more about Mac Holland.
Sure. And I agree with you. I've said it before with First Ranger. The best part of these is that they're short and digestible, and you just get so invested so quickly. But the worst part of these is that they're so short because often you're left wanting and you want even more. While Sledgehammer is a story I really enjoyed, I think my hot take is I think the book would get even worse if you tried to expand it. In that, like you said, there are these plot holes, and I don't know how far you could stretch it because I found myself multiple times just saying, I'm going to enjoy this. I'm not going to question it. I'm not going to pick anything apart. I'm going to live in the moment. And if I had to continue to suspend disbelief that a group of 70-year-old washed up something are going on
It's
this
just him.
rested.
It's just him that's 70, right?
It's true, but they're all kind
Everyone
of
else is 20 years because the one already is like 45. The lady who's
the
sniper,
woman. Yeah,
and then the other. So the rest are 55. So he's 70. All right.
I don't
So
know, man. I don't know if I buy
my
that.
like take on it was that it's I guess originally, right, we found out that the point of these were to be like screenwrites, like
Right.
plot, like submissions for rights on a TV show, rights on a movie, whatever. And to me, this reads like Taken
Of course.
meets what is it, Reds? Did you ever see those movies?
No. Oh, like
It
Red
was
Dawn,
like
Red.
no,
No.
it had a name. It was sorry, it was an acronym.
Mm.
But it was like Bruce Willis. He was older. Morgan Freeman,
Mm.
Helen Mirren, and they're all these like John Malkovich. Obviously, they're all much older. Or the like Expendables. Like very
That,
much so, like
yeah,
having that come in.
I was going to say it felt like that. So a part of it is like you just enjoy that, right? These old timers, these legends, these icons getting back in the game. I think there's some like storytelling trope there that could work. I just think in this case to have a 70-year-old going that buck wild. Yes, he's motivated. It's his daughter, but it was just again one of those things. And even if you take it as his age, it's not, you can't buy into it. But it's also the fact that everyone around him was just a yes man. And I know he had that aura and he had that gravitas to get people behind him and to have this team and call up old friends. But at the same time, I'm just like, somebody at some point got to be like, dude, this is probably not the right way to go about this. Like, let's get a real team in here. I just think for them to just whole hog go in and no one to question, like, wait, is this the best move for this select group of people? And him to be the main operator going into the fray. I just don't know. I think there were a lot of moments where I just wanted to hit pause on certain things and question it. But because it was a short story, I didn't. I was like, let's just keep this train moving.
I guess it's interesting that they picked 70.
I
You
might have
know,
bought it at like 62, 58. Like I
so
really
like
might
I'm
have.
looking up like how old like the character was in the first Taken movie. And Liam
Late
Neeson's character
50s.
was 55 in the
Yeah.
first one, 60 in the second one, and then 62 in the third.
Believable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
70 was
you know,
tough.
like they could have had him be like 60 and then have everyone
Yeah.
else be like 50, you know.
I think though that's not the only issue I had, because the other thing is the whole she's alive, right? Is his friend comes, just drops the knowledge. She's alive. We got intel, super secret, this and that. You know, her cover was blown as a knock. Again, just a little too easy.
Mm,
I think if you had a whole book and you had to tease that out and build up to it, maybe it would have landed better. But to me, I just had to tell myself, okay, that's a device to bring us some action. We have very
sure.
limited page time. Boom, you got to jump right into it. But that ends up making it seem half baked or just forced, and you have to do it. It didn't feel natural. Like First Ranger, I felt like it was clipped in its pacing, but it felt natural because we were moving through real battles and events. Like, oh, I know this thing has to come. Okay, and then
Hmm.
we see them it's
Hmm.
like little snippets along the way. This one was trying to tell what's a really complex web of spy,
Right.
espionage,
Right.
clues, intel, putting the intel pieces together, and it just like dropped the folder on your desk instead of
Right.
seeing the intel being collected and the data being analyzed. So
Yeah,
a
no,
fault of the medium, I guess. A
sure.
limitation.
And I think but at the same time like I enjoyed reading it. Like I thought it
Agreed.
was entertaining. I thought it was a page turner. You know, like I think I wanted to know more about the ultimate villain of it, like why she turned on his daughter, why, you know, what happened to her, like what, you know, what is that whole backstory? They didn't touch that at all.
No. She
So
shows her scars, you know, when she's like undressing. So it's like she's
yeah,
trying to tell her, like, I'm getting back at what your country has done to me.
no, but it's
What your
specifically
father,
what
what your
your
father.
dad did
Yeah,
to me.
exactly. So I did like those personal stakes. Do those personal stakes land when you've only had one scene with that character?
Sure.
You know, it doesn't land as hard. So I think this one, I see the limitations of this medium of short storytelling more so than I do in any of the others. And because of that, I don't know if it works.
Interesting. So it's funny that we just happened to decide to talk about both Sledgehammer and Scar um on the same pod, because they're very similar. Obviously, they're very different, but similar in the sense that it's all focused around this one mission, trying to go into a remote area, terrorist or you know, infill,
Yep.
have to get somebody out, whether it's an HVT your or your daughter. And so I guess just pivoting over to Scar, like how well did you think that executed that?
Yeah, I think just like Sledgehammer, it had the exciting action scene. Really, everything centered around that. The beginning and the end had these nice bookmark conversations. In Sledgehammer, it's with the little girl, which
Hmm.
we should address. Perfect way to bookend that story. And this one, it's with Kelso Jarvis. You know, when he
Right.
walks into the room in the briefing to when we see him at the end with the surprise Zakari. Very similar in that format, that style. At the same time, it's so different in that this one has a whole universe behind it. It's got a character,
Sure.
Dempsey, or in this case, Kemper, with thousands of pages behind him, thousands of fans. There's so much weight to that story. You know, it's part of an expanded universe. And I think that makes it work a little more in that everything he's doing is not some one off. You have to just believe it just because I told you. It's like, no, we're
Mm,
actually seeing the origin of who this character was. We're seeing why he's so dedicated to the mission. We're learning about his character, and I'm not feeling it's forced to make the character, build the plane as we're flying it. It's like, nope, the plane is out there. All the pieces have been put together already. We're just seeing a small slice. And that's much more successful at wanting me to now go read more of the tier 1 stories. Specifically, one, we see Jarvis recruiting him in a sense. So I'd like to see him finally jumping in and getting on that team. I guess Ember. And then finally, I want to see the name change. I don't really know the series enough to understand why his name changed. And I thought that was a really, really teasing thing that I'm sure fans of the series, the tier 1 readers, absolutely love this. This was like fan service to them, I'd imagine.
Yeah, why haven't we done a tier 1 novel?
I think Sons of Valor just felt more digestible as one book
Sure.
at the time, and then 2, and now 3. I feel
I know
like
it's hard to get into, like, it's obviously we've tackled big time series that have had 20 plus books.
Yep.
And obviously we want to tap back into the Gray Man, but you know, I guess when a series has, you know, I think they have 9 books,
yeah.
it can be daunting. So
Everything though, when Dempsey appears in Sons of Valor, when team members called
Right,
in,
right.
all these things really make me interested in it. And it seems Andrews and
True,
Wilson through and through.
I guess we have that context too of it. All right, so jumping back to Sledgehammer, would you want to read a backstory of Matt Collins?
Yeah, I think so. I think I would, and I think that would make more sense, right? To hear
Yeah.
about him younger and these legends that he created. It's almost like instead of being an origin story, this is the after story, which has never been done before, as far as I know.
Right. So like this kicks it off, but in actuality, he never does another op again. You know, he's
Right.
truly retired to get his daughter out. This is not kicking off some sort of old person clandestine service, but instead you now go back and you get to see all of them in their heyday.
Yeah. That's kind of cool then, because usually you make a short story with the origin and you want to figure out how they got there. Well, the first thing you write about a character is after retirement, after all that story's already been done and not written. That's a unique way to do it. So yeah, I'd be interested in more.
Because I just don't think I could believe enough, suspend my disbelief enough to think like to have a running series where he's 70 years old and just doing op
Pulled
after
out of
op
retirement.
after op after
Yeah.
op.
Agreed.
You know, maybe he was running things like back in the, you know, in the office or in the talk.
Sure.
But not being the Sledgehammer kicking down doors. You know?
The way he gets so involved. That's a dope title when you know that's his nickname for kicking down doors. Same thing with Scars, and actually Scars actually really hit as a title. And again, fans of Tier 1 probably know the significance of the left arm injury.
Oh, that was a brutal description of that scene.
Dude, it was. But now for longtime fans who get to see it happen, that must just hit so much more. Yeah, he's taken out, 6 dudes. The HVT gets away after slashing him with like a curved, Arabic typical blade. Wild. And it led to this quote at the end. So that's another thing about this format is it allows Andrews and Wilson. I think what carries all these books is their writing. There's so many authors where this wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's so good that whatever the story is, the quality of the writing is crisp and clean. And just quotes like this. And it's funny because the 2 quotes I pulled, one from Sledgehammer is in the very beginning, maybe like the 3rd sentence of the book. And this one from Scars is the last few sentences of the book. So I feel like they have the magic formula of knowing exactly when they have to write that knockout sentence or that knockout passage. And it's very early or very late in a short story. And this is the one from Scars at the very end. A visible reminder of a painful event that could not be undone. A mistake he could not forget. His scar was born from hubris and passion, courage and naivete. And yet, as much as he wanted to hate it, to hide the omnipresent reminder of his failure and shame, it also represented something else, something transformational. In earning this scar, he earned Captain Jarvis's attention and respect. In earning this scar, he had gained a mentor and had been invited to participate in a world previously hidden from him. The world of the Tier 1 operations.
And then the world even beyond that.
Of Ember, yeah.
Yeah. So
a world of a new persona becoming Dempsey.
I think, this is like what I want out of best case scenario for finding out like how Mitch got his scar,
Exactly.
Or some crazy story that, we've heard from that Brad has mentioned about Scot, but it's never been explored, like this is like the best case scenario for what an author wants to do. And I understand like it doesn't make a lot of money. It probably takes a decent amount of time. You might as well, just write a whole novel.
A book.
But I don't know. It's fun little fan service. But and then if you're able to then tack all these into an anthology, boom, then you sell the book.
Even better, or you turn a few into movies. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's your bread and butter. It was interesting when both Ward Larson and Brad Thor on our interview declaratively stated, yeah, it would be fun to write short stories. I don't have time for that. You know, if I'm
No.
doing the research, I'm pouring myself into it. I
Yeah.
just need to write the full book. And I was a little disappointed. And, you know, because their craft is so good, I want digestible bits of it more often.
Mhm.
But that's a lot to demand of them. They both clearly said in their schedule that's just like not a possibility. But now you have Andrews and Wilson working on this completely other business model. They really seem to be the ringer for Blackstone, so they must have a lot of sway to do what they want to do and
Mhm.
express themselves how they want to express themselves. And they did choose that route of let's invest time and energy in a series of stories. Sell them each for $6.50 on Amazon. It's not a bad play.
Well, that in turns, like, it's also they have 10 pitches that they can pitch to, as
And it's your
screenwriters.
pitch. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's maybe easier to pitch that than to pitch a whole book. You know,
Mm.
I don't know. Because are the people actually going to read a whole book? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is that I think out of the three, I think I still like First Ranger the best.
I agree.
Mainly just because, like, that's like I want that now. Like
Same. Yeah. That's the one I would want to be a whole book in a whole universe
sure,
more
in,
than
in a whole
anything.
universe.
Yeah.
I think Scars was very good. And it does make me want to read more tier one. Like I think I started tier one like during COVID before we started this podcast randomly because Amazon like pushed it to me.
Same.
Um, and we never circled back to it, but I'm intrigued. I think out of the three, Sledgehammer is at the bottom, but still not like it's bad, but enjoyable. Everything was enjoyable.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So
And
they're coming out with these once a month.
I think pretty much that's their plan. Yeah.
Okay.
$5 is a good price. I know I've been getting them for $6.50, so I feel like $4.99 probably is like that price point where I'm absolutely buying them every month. A little bit more than that, I'm like, maybe I'll skip a few here and there. So
Yeah.
it's a good experiment. Oh, the Sledgehammer quote right in the beginning, quote, only the shit you care about walks out of your life. The stuff you don't sticks around like lint on black pants. Like
That was great. That was great.
right off the gate when he's in his garage looking for something, he's like, shit that you care about walks out of your life. I'm just like, oh, damn. Like, this is pretty deep. So, yeah, two great passages, two great short stories. The other thing, though, I feel like a short story, these are a little different than your typical short stories that withstood the test of time and become classics, like we read The Most Dangerous Game.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they have to be complete, soup to nuts. I don't think they become classics if they have too many danglers, if they're just a tease to try to sell more books or get you into another universe or have you follow them and watch for the next release. I don't know if these work as complete short stories. They have beginning, middle, and end, but the beginning, middle, and end seem like a small chunk of a greater beginning and a greater middle and a greater end, where I feel like a true classic, and it's not their game plan, but if their true idea was to create like a masterpiece of the short story genre, I don't know if these work. I feel like they're a little too in media res, where like The Most Dangerous Game, it just works. It's a complete story, The Lottery and so many of these other ones. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Sure. I mean, if you think about like what in essence, like truly great. You're naming some like the greatest short stories of all time.
Sure. Yeah,
You
I know it's
know,
unfair. Yeah.
I'm looking more so in the sense of, all right, what are some cool IPs? Even though there are their own IP in the sense that they're starting new universes, it still is IP for them
It is.
in a sense. And have you read any of the Knights of the Seven Kingdoms novels that George did for yeah, like, so these are up akin to that, right? Essentially he wanted to explore something in the history of this long saga that's X amount of years before the main series, and you go for it. And you can tie like different, I think the Dempsey is very much like that, right? Or Scars. Um but yeah, I don't think they're trying to be the lottery or they're trying to be the most dangerous game. Or
Is fair.
what's the other one? The elephants one that Hemingway wrote. It's about like we study that in like high school.
I don't know that one. Yeah, I just think with these two more than First Ranger, I'm seeing cracks in the limitations.
Hills like
of
white
the
elephants.
genre.
That's
Oh,
you
no, I
definitely
don't
wrote
know
that one.
It was probably back in middle school or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I just think we're seeing limitations of the genre that I'm wondering if I'm going to keep going, but I wonder if I make it to the very end. We shall see.
You know, maybe that's why people only do this when they're asked to do, you know, some sort of they're coming out with a spy anthology or a compendium, and you're able to get like every, you know, Mark Greaney, Don Bentley,
Right.
Brad Thor, you know, if you were able to get Kyle or Vince Flynn, you know, all these people, like, if you got them all in one book, like,
Yeah.
hey, that would sell, you know?
No, that would sell, and that would be super cool. People talk about it all the time. It seems like the authors don't want to go that route, but it would be cool. You know what else would be cool?
I think Brad only did it because it was for it was for a cause.
He said he's done a charity one, and then he also said he did like big box retailers who wanted extra IP and
Yeah.
canon that belonged to them.
Yeah, that's why we had those, like an epilogue and a random prologue,
which he regrets, you know, the fact that it was done in that manner. But yeah, I think he mentioned another charity one that might be in the works. So
yeah, because
cool idea.
Target does a lot of that, like with books and with albums. They have like Target only versions where I know like songs you can only get it if you buy from Target. And the same thing with books. You get like an extra ending if you buy the book from Target. Cool.
Good stuff. Andrews and Wilson, thanks for doing what you do. I like how Andrews and Wilson are also really fan driven and really about the fan connection. I feel like those guys are just ever present with the fans and having their pulse on the Thrillerverse and knowing where people are at and giving the people what they want. So
an
thank you for
origin
coming
story
through.
to Victor. That would be cool.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that first book really left me wanting. So I wonder if any in the Victor series go back in time. That would be good to ask Adam about.
Oh no, I was talking about for Andrews and Wilson, the main antagonist of the Shepherd series.
Oh, the Victor. Capital V Victor.
Capital V Victor. Yeah.
Capital D Devil.
I mean, I know we got like a little bit of like, you know, when he was like a kid and like with the witches and stuff.
We'll just read what's the book about the fall? Rising. Milton. Milton's Paradise
Lost?
Paradise Lost. Yeah. I feel like a Paradise Lost of Victor. Anyway.
What are we covering next time, bro?
We are going to have to talk about that right now. So let's get the reading list out for our midpoint and second half of 2026.
All right. Sounds good. You'll have to wait till next time. We'll post on the socials. In the meantime, go subscribe. All 3 seasons of Thriller Pod. You can find us at thrillerpod.com or on Twitter and Instagram at Thriller Podcast. I need to thank our patrons. The rest of them I don't have them pulled up right now. Thank you. And as always, let Andrews and Wilson be Andrews and Wilson.